Beautiful people, welcome back to another vlog. Peter, aka Pilot Pete. I'm a Boeing 767 first officer, and today's gonna be a little bit of a different vlog style because I don't have a trip. I'm actually here in Memphis, our company's headquarters, for Recurrent training. So those who don't know what Recurrent training is, every 9 months I have to come back to Memphis to go into the 767 simulator and basically go over maneuvers, emergency procedures, hot topics, things I'll jump into a little later on. But that's what I'm here for. It actually worked out. I operated into Memphis this morning around like 12 local time, noon. I got a hotel here in Memphis, and then tomorrow at 6 a.m. I have to report for our first sim of the Recurrent training. So I have to actually get myself my own hotel because since I'm based here, the company will not pay for my hotel because I said I'm based here. So there's no reason for them to get me a hotel where I'm based. And I can't use my travel bank money that I always talk about when I'm deviating for hotels, transportation, things like that. Luckily, I do have an airport car here, so I'm able to get around. The hotel's on my dime. They also provide, fortunately, a crew discount. So this room's only costing me like just under 100 bucks for the night. Not too shabby. But anyway, got nothing to do till 6 a.m. tomorrow. You kind of know the deal. It's not negotiable. We're gonna get a workout in. We also have a 4-mile run on the training plan today because I'm training for the NYC Marathon. So that will take care of that. I'll find some place to eat tonight. And then, like I said, alarms for 5 a.m. local. That won't be fun. Fingers crossed I actually get to bed a little bit earlier tonight. And hoping to be able to show you as much as possible in the simulator, in the briefing rooms, things like that. Obviously, it will be up to the captain or the other pilot I'm paired with, and more importantly, the instructor. So either way, as always, you want to come along, I'll go introduce you or show you 767 Recurrent training. So I walked to the closest gym to me, happens to be a Sport of Fitness, better known as LA Fitness. I think it's rebranded. But in one of my videos previously, I said that one of the ways I get access to all these different gyms was through Active and Fit. I used to use them. I used them for about like 4 or 5 years. Loved it. 28 bucks a month. I literally got like 12,000 gyms nationwide, but they recently changed their policy. That's not the case anymore. You pay just for one gym, so that wasn't gonna do it for me since I travel so much. I got my at-home gym in New York City, gyms in Memphis that I use, and then when I fly to Oakland, LA, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Atlanta, you name it, I like to use the gyms in those cities for obvious reasons. But shop around. I mean, believe it or not just my employer has it. A lot of employers have this option. You just Google or URL search in your keyword on your website, your company website, or just call HR and ask them about any like health or wellness programs. There's a bunch out there. ClassPass. I'm currently using this thing called Gym Pass, very similar to the aforementioned Active and Fit. It's like Wellness Hub, Gym Pass. It's like two in the same thing. They're like rebranding. But yeah, I pay like 11 bucks a month, and they have basically, I look on what gyms that I'm gonna want to use throughout my month or year or whatever, and my gyms that are on there, I just sign up for that in a different tier. So long story short, there's definitely ways to work out. I know a lot of people are always asking me, how do you work out at all these different gyms where you go? And for me, like I said, the answer is finding these like gym programs that allow me to do that, since hotel gyms aren't always the greatest. Plus it gets me out to kind of explore the city a little bit. But anyway, we're doing chest today. Finish with some abs always, and then I gotta run. But it's getting late, I'm not gonna lie. I procrastinated a little bit on my phone back to the hotel, so we're getting it done though. All right, work workout complete, at least the weightlifting portion of the workout, got it in, and then planning on going for a run in a little bit, but it's literally 100 degrees in Memphis today. It feels like temperature's gotta be hotter than that with the humidity, and it's 5:30, sun is still pretty high up, so I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I just don't know how I'm gonna survive, but we'll figure that out later. Yeah, I just want to talk about what recurrent training is. So even though I am current in the Boeing 767, every 9 months I still have to come back and complete recurrent training. And what you do in that training is you do maneuvers, procedures, things that are pretty abnormal if they were to ever happen at all while you're flying. So each and every day I fly, it's pretty much standard operating procedures, right? We push back from the gate, we taxi, we take off, cruise, descent, approach, landing, and 98% of those flights, 98 out of 100 of those flights go off without a hitch. No maintenance issues, no extracurricular weather diversions, things like that. It's the 1% or less than 1% when things act up, we have to obviously be at our best and know what the heck we're doing. So things like engine fires, rapid decompressions, engine failures, V1 cuts, things like that. Knock on wood, I haven't had to do pretty much any of that as an actual airline pilot, but I should be, and I would be, and I would want to be prepared in case it happens. So the FAA, the company, they agreed upon 9 months coming back and just kind of freshening up on those things. I've done them before in the simulator. When you first get initially type rated in the jet, in the Boeing 767, I had to do rapid decompressions, V1 cuts, engine fires, hydraulic failures, flap malfunctions, things like that. But again, I haven't done them since that training because it doesn't happen every day. I'm sure a lot of you fly either professionally yourself or for fun as passengers on airlines, and how often is the pilot coming on board saying, hey, don't worry about the engine failure or the engine fire going on, we're gonna land safely. It never happens, knock on wood if you're superstitious. But since it's so rare, they want us to be current, and they want us to make sure that if it does happen, we know what we're doing. So anyway, that's pretty much the point of recurrent training. I'll be paired usually with another line captain, and then I'll be the first officer. It's actually better though when I get paired with like an instructor pilot, because they aren't doing the training. They're just kind of seat filling. So I would just fly and get done in half the time. But I just looked at the pairing. It looks like I'm with actually a captain I've flown with in the past. So him and I will each take turns. The briefing is like usually an hour prior to the sim. Then we're in the sim for 4 hours with a break in between his session and my session, and then a debrief that's like usually 30 minutes to 45 minutes, just talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We get a whole kind of curriculum of what we're gonna be going over. I haven't looked it over really yet too much, so I'm gonna do that after I go for my run. That'll be my reading material for the night. But yeah, that's pretty much what recurrent is. Every airline does it. They may be doing it in different like time frames and stuff. I'm pretty sure ours is AQP, Advanced Qualification Parameters, Procedures. I don't know what it stands for. AQP is just basically like an enhanced training that the FAA and individual airlines have developed for basically letting pilots go a little bit longer or have shortened training periods so they can get back online and making the company money. So that's what we're gonna do. Protein shake, run, and then recurrent tomorrow. Well, we made it outside for the run, stretch. Not sure how it's gonna go in the 100-degree heat, but we're gonna do our best. You may or may not know, I'm training for the NYC New York City Marathon this upcoming November, and I'm running for the charity Children's Aid, which helps underprivileged youth in New York City with things to do after school, meals, education, all that good stuff. So really great cause. Descriptions below. I got to raise money for them for the marathon. So if you want to donate $1, $5, $1 million, it's all greatly appreciated. Some of you already have. Seriously, it means a lot. I appreciate it. People are always asking how they can support the channel. So that's a perfect way. Seriously, $1, $5 goes a long way to reaching that goal for the marathon. So anything you can spare, I'd appreciate it. But 4 miles today, like I said, I'm trying to go to the track that's at a nearby college, but I don't think they're gonna let me in. There's a guard and stuff, but gonna give it a shot. to see if I can do my miles there. Otherwise, I'm gonna be out on the street. Sun's starting to go down a little bit. It's probably, instead of being 100, it's like 97, so that's a good thing. Miles, then dinner, a little bit of studying, bedtime. 4.5 miles in the books. We did it. Wasn't pretty, wasn't fun, but we got her done. I've taken down some electrolytes because I sweated my tail off. But we're a little late on dinner. Want to go to Whole Foods, but the hot bar is already closed down. It's almost 8 o'clock. An old trusted friend, Mr. Hop Dottie. The good thing about working out and running and sweating, you can eat pretty much whatever you want. You gotta up the calories to try to maintain weight, or just eat a little bit less if you're trying to lose weight. I'm gonna eat some of this. I brought my iPad with me to study for tomorrow, and then we'll be heading to bed. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. tomorrow already. It's gonna be brutal. Study materials out, classic burger, and the Thunderbolt, loading up on the carbs, studying our procedures. Hop Dottie. All right, just got back from dinner, studied a little bit. Now it's time for bed. It's pretty cool though. The company, like training department, puts out these kind of curriculum and audio video training series, so you can kind of watch the maneuvers. Looks like tomorrow I'm gonna be doing some wind shear escape, some TCAS, TARA, and some stalls at altitude, along with some flap malfunction. So again, kind of piggybacking on what I said earlier, these are all abnormal situations that we don't deal with on a day-to-day basis, but something that can definitely happen on any flight. So it's good to kind of just refresh it, do it in the simulator. I don't know if I mentioned that, but this is not done in the actual airplane. All recurrent training, all training for that matter, is done in the airplane, except for like your line checks and things like that. So it's all done in the sim, in the 767 sim. I think my company has 4 here in Memphis. I think that's right. They're full motion. Visuals are pretty good. You can select different runways, change the weather, add in these scenarios like other planes coming close to you. Like I said, fires, failures, everything that can happen on the plane can happen in the sim. I don't know if our simulators do it, but I know there's simulators out there that actually have like real, or not real, but they have smoke come in to the cockpit. So it simulates what it would be like if you had some sort of failure or smoke in the cockpit scenario where you had to don the oxygen mask, how hard it would be to actually see out the window to land the airplane, which I think is be freaking cool to do. But unfortunately, I don't think our sims have that. They cost like millions of dollars, like the real deal. They're not your Microsoft X high-tech things that some people have in their house. These things are the real freaking deal. So I'll show you guys those tomorrow. They're pretty cool. But yeah, it's gonna be half, like I said, the captain's kind of gig and half mine. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. I just reviewed the maneuvers. I will say though, my one little wish is, I don't know if the pilots that are in these videos, these training briefs, are actual pilots of ours. I mean, they're wearing the uniforms. I obviously don't know every single one of our pilots here. If they are actual pilots, well done by them, well done. But guys, I mean, come on. I make videos. I love to be in front of the camera. Strap me on the freaking flight deck of these sims and let the okayest pilot get on these training videos. I would love nothing more. Probably will never happen, but we can always dream. We can always dream. So, all right, bedtime. Hoping to get at least 7 hours under the covers, and I'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early. Good morning, beautiful people. Day 1 of recurrent training starts now. It's 10 to 6, and we got our first day of simulator training. It's up pretty good, feeling good. But here's the sim bays. I'll show you guys these real quick before I head into the briefing room. So that's what they look like. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this side. I don't think these are the, actually this is a 767. I mean, they all look the same from the outside, but yeah, that's what they look like. They move on these big hydraulics to simulate your up and down movement, your pitch and your roll, air conditioning obviously. And like I said, they're like millions of dollars. They're pretty high tech, pretty crazy. And that's where I'll be for the next, give or take 4 hours in those boxes. Wish me luck. So just in the briefing room now. We just did about an hour brief. Got about 45 minutes and then we'll be in the sim. All right, briefing is complete. We talked about high altitude, like landings. I guess that's kind of a big emphasis on this training. Going into places like Bogota, Medellin, a lot of places in South America, high terrain, which obviously can be dangerous, especially at night, which is a lot of the flying we do. And then with the higher terrain, higher pressure altitude, density altitude makes for faster speeds. Your round out, your flare is going to be a little bit different. We talked about TCAS events, wind shear, flap malfunctions, disagreements, things like that. Stalls, high altitude stalls, so stalling the airplane, heaven forbid, at like 37,000 feet, not have the airspeed to recover. So you're gonna have to be okay with losing 3, 5, 6,000 feet to recover. Yeah, and now we're on another 5-minute break. It's freezing in there. I forgot how cold it gets. You can imagine with all of the computer systems, they get hot, so they have to blow a lot of cold air, I assume, in the building and in the sim. So I got goosebumps, so I came out here in the nice Memphis summer heat to kind of warm up. But we'll be in there for about 4 hours with a little bit of break in between. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to, unfortunately, kind of have the phone up for during the sim, but I'll definitely show you guys inside the sim and kind of what it looks like. So here's the sim bays. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this queue over here. I believe that's an Airbus sim. Another 757 sim down there, and then this last one, probably a 777, but let's go see what it is. So you can see they're on these big hydraulic systems. They move up and down. This one's in use because the jaw bridge is up. Oh no, it's a 76. 7.6. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. They're pretty cool machines. They really do feel pretty close, as close as you can get to the real airplane. And these things are operating pretty much 24 hours a day with recurrent training, captain upgrades, new hires, differences training. So if you're going from the 7.5 to the 7.6 at my company, it's going to be a little bit different. You can see that this sim is in use as well because the drawbridge is up. So there's emergency escape ladders if anything, heaven forbid, happens. You can see the projectors up there for the screens that are in front of you. Here's another Airbus sim. I believe is the Airbus 300, and then that's the beauty that I'll be in, 7.6 for the next 4 hours. Like I said, it gets pretty cold in there, and that's what the sims look like. So I'll take you into the 767 sim. You walk in, there's a few observer seats, coat racks, things like that. That's the instructor panel, another observer seat, some trash bags, and then all just like the normal controls. And then once you get to this point, pretty much becomes like a regular 767 flight deck. I don't really know how to operate any of this stuff, but all of the instructor, he or she sits right here, manipulates the malfunctions, the weather, anything that they want to do. Big kind of control seat. And then, like I said, the further you get closer, the more realistic it gets. Captain's seat on the left. My seat for today's session on the right. We're gonna be going to Bogota. So there's the view out the windscreen. It looks, I mean, it's definitely computer generated, obviously, but everything in here pretty much is the exact same as it is on the real airplane. The controls definitely don't handle the exact same, so landing this thing is not exactly right. You don't have that tactile feel of real life, but it's pretty freaking close. Yeah, it's as real as it gets. This is how airline pilots get type rated. This is how they fly the airplane to figure out how to do it. The particular company's procedures, all that stuff. You don't actually fly the real airplane until the first time you fly it. So your flight on any airline that pilot in the up front, and maybe their first time actually flying the real deal. So that's not something that many people think. But I will say, this does a great job preparing you, because it's pretty much the same thing, like I said, minus the view and that tactile feel, but everything else comes pretty quickly. So this is my home for the next 2 days, and the next about 2 more hours to go. We just took our first break, did some landings, did some sync rate. Cool thing about the 7.6, which I didn't know, they're installing in our airplanes. I can't really show you right now because we're on position freeze, but we have a tail strike monitor that when you go above a certain pitch, the airplane will yell at you on landing like, hey, you're about to tail strike. So it's our warning to go around. So they're emphasizing hard landings. I wouldn't know anything about that, obviously. No, but it's a cool little extra safety tool that they're throwing in. So one more half session to go, and we'll be done. All right, day 1 in the books, all complete, satisfactory. Myself and the captain got it done. I did stalls, we did wind shear, TCAS, different approaches at different airports. We were in Columbia, we were in Boston. The nice thing about the simulator is the instructor can like reposition the airplane, so you don't actually have to fly Boston to Columbia. They can just pop the airplane on the runway, different positions. We did flat failures, everything in the curriculum. We finished with about like 45 minutes to go. So he asked if we want to do any extra stuff. So we both wanted to do a V1 cut. V1 cut is when your engine fails right at decision speed. So you're going about 160 miles an hour plus, and your engine quits. You got to keep it on the runway, obviously, with your rudder pedals, and then you lift off into the air. The FAA considers losing an engine at V1 like one of the most critical phases as far as takeoff goes. So you practice those. We're going to be doing those and getting evaluated on those tomorrow. Both did pretty well on that, and then that was it. Did a little debrief. He said we did an excellent job all the way around. Good lesson. It's only 12 o'clock local, so got the rest of the day. Training, for the most part, pilots don't like training. I'm definitely one of them. It's just boring, I guess, kind of. Not boring, just not fun. I like flying much better than I like being in a simulator. But A, it's required, and B, something that we have to do. So it's done. The good part is I have the whole day off. Like, I'm done until tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So we'll hang out in Memphis. Gonna meet up with another pilot who's a captain here. I think he's an MD-11 captain now. I'll have to ask him, but you guys can meet him and then get a workout, go for a run, lunch and dinner. Oh, and a quick update on the car, if you're wondering. The airport car, the Honda Accord, still does not have any air conditioning. It is hot and roasty in here. It's gonna be probably close to 100 later on in the day. Luckily, there's no sun. Sun's popping out now, but yeah, never got the AC fixed. I mean, it's August, mid-August, so it's practically winter time. I figured I dodged most of the heat, southern summer heat, so probably just gonna leave it as is. But what are you gonna do? I like the sauna. All right, we just got done with our workout. It's always nice having a company guy here in Memphis to work out with. Want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dietrich, one of Peter's good friends. We've worked together for a long time. He's a great guy. Honored to be on this show.
We worked together at my XX Airline flying MD-80s.
That's right.
You were a captain, I was an FO, I think is when we first met. And now Dietrich's a captain on what airplane?
The Airbus.
Airbus. How do you like flying that?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's not the MD, but it's
I was gonna say, what airplanes have you flown here?
The MD-11 and the Airbus A300.
Very cool. What countries have you been to on the MD-11 here?
Oh man, I've been all over. The UAE, I went to China, I went to India, all over Europe, Mexico, and still going new places all the time.
So when everyone's always asking me, Pete, you ever fly international? I'm going to Tulsa, Miami, New York. This is the guy that's taking all my flying. When he's flying the captain as an MD captain, going to all these cool places. I see his pictures online, flying to all these exotic places while I'm stuck in freaking San Antonio. No offense to San Antonio, you're awesome, but I really want to get to Dubai and check those places out. But yeah, like-minded, we got a workout in, non-negotiable.
That's right, non-negotiable.
And then have any trips on the schedule right now, or not yet?
Just reserve.
Just reserve. Are you RB, RA?
RA.
RA.
Midnight to noon.
Midnight to noon. So different planes, different schedules, things like that, but always nice meeting up with fellow like-minded guys. Get a workout in. Dietrich.
That's right.
Pleasure, my friend.
You too.
Until next time.
We'll do it. Non-negotiable.
Let's go. Finished a great workout with Captain Dietrich. Thanks for coming on, buddy. And then actually went for a 4-mile run, part of the training plan. So non-negotiable, we got it done. Problem is, I'm going to bed too late, especially with 5 a.m. wake up. So no real time for like a good dinner. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know where to eat healthy in Memphis. I struggle in this city to eat healthy. A lot of southern fried food, restaurants, fast food, not my vibe. So TJ's dinner tonight is gonna be protein bars, pre-made salad, and I got these like shrimp rice things, but my problem is I gotta eat more. I know, it's a good problem to have, but when you're working out and burning so many freaking calories in the heat, it's what you gotta do. So we're gonna go home, chow this down, and you guys try early wake up tomorrow. All right, got everything done I needed to get done for the most part. Studied a little bit. Dinner, workouts, long days, but got through it. Another 5 a.m. wake up tomorrow. Not my favorite, but it'll be nice when it's all said and done. So see you tomorrow for day 2 of Recurrent. Morning, beautiful people. Second and final day of the sim. Today's like my eval, so I'll be getting kind of tested out. This is pass or fail, so we're feeling good. I mean, we're tired, but feeling good though. There's the 767 sim I'll be in for the next 4+ hours. Forgot my jacket again because it gets cold in there. V1 cuts, some single engine approaches and landings, some single engine go arounds, all the fun stuff. Let's get to work. So we're going over Bogota engine out procedures for single engine operations. This is our engine out procedures right here. Obviously gonna be gibberish for a lot of people, but that's the gist of it. Those are mountains, not birds. And this is how we climb away from the mountains and be safe. All for you folks, all for you. We're halfway through sim number 2. So far, so good. We did crosswind takeoffs, crosswind landings, and then a R&P approach into Bogota, GPS approach, which is pretty cool. It has an arc through the mountains into the high terrain of Bogota Airport. And then I actually had to do a go around on my approach into landing for the R&P GPS approach. Got a little bit unstable, safety first, so we went around. But no, trying to land the simulator is difficult. You just don't have that tactile feel. It's as close as it can be to a real airplane, but it's just not the real airplane. So I've always struggled with landing the sim. It's cool though, they have like parameters that they break down. The instructor was showing us after each landing, like your vertical speed on touchdown, the G-force on touchdown, your derotation speed, every minute little detail to help you kind of see what you could improve on, did good at, did bad at, all that kind of stuff. So the breakdown is very, very detailed, which is neat because you don't ever really get that. But got about an hour and a half probably left. It's time for some V1 cuts, where this is where the real magic happens, where they separate the boys from the men, or the private pilots from the ATPs. So wish me luck. Well, folks, another 9 months satisfactory checked, passed the maneuvers eval training. Simulator ride was good. We finished almost like pretty early because we all did what we needed to do on time. No real repeats between myself and the captain. The second session of the sim, we did stalls at 15,000 feet turning. We did stalls configuring. It's funny, the Boeing 767, if you actually stall that airplane, it would be insane because there's so many warning signs prior to actually stalling. You get an alpha warning, oral warning, you get a stick shaker saying, hey dummies, this airplane's about to stall, fix it. All these crazy alerts prior to the actual airplane stalling. So it's good practice, it's good to see, but I just can't imagine flight crews actually stalling the Boeing 767, but did those, that was good. The big test part was the V1 cuts. Did that out of Bogota, Colombia, so you're high altitude, the engine's not performing well, engine on V1 bus brakes, the airplane veers hard left or right depending on which engine fails. And Captain did a good job, came back, did a single engine landing to 1-4 right. I had pretty much the same thing happen, different engine. And then my first one resulted in a go around because we broke out at minimums and didn't see the runway. And then, or I should say at minimums, we didn't break out or see the runway. So we had to go execute a single engine go around, came back around and landed single engine. I'll tell you though, I'm glad landing the simulator does not correlate to how you land the airplane, at least for me. I would give myself a poor scores on the landings in the sim. But again, the visuals, you don't get that tactile feel. It's just a little bit different. That's all she wrote for training. I'm done for another 9 months. Happy to report. I still have my wings. I can continue to fly. And we go back to work tomorrow. So yeah, feeling good. Well, folks, that's all she wrote. Another training successfully completed. Current for another 9 months on the Boeing 767. I hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride, seeing the simulator. Hope I answered some questions. If you have more though, obviously feel free to comment below. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, pilotpete.fly. Get back to all of them. And the next video will be 20 Q&A, questions and answers for myself from you guys because I hit 20,000 subscribers. So thank you very much for that. It's greatly appreciated. Like I said before, I'll say it again, I enjoy doing the vlog, so I appreciate your guys' support. It really means a lot and kind of helps me to continue to keep going with these. So thank you again. Gonna just chill here in Memphis. I got work tomorrow, so I didn't think it was really any point to taking a jump seat home just to be home for like 12 hours just to come back to work. So gonna stay in my paid for hotel that I'm paying for because I'm based here for one more night, but that's okay. We're get a workout in, go for our run, get our marathon training completed. We got a 10-mile run about to hit in the summer heat. Maybe not the best idea, but what are you gonna do? So as always, hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next one. As always, be safe. I'll see you.